The first time I saw Rebecca Chen, she was standing at the front of our 10th grade chemistry class, answering a question I'd raised my hand for first. Mr. Patterson had called on her instead, and she'd delivered a flawless explanation of chemical bonds while I sat there fuming, my hand still half raised like an idiot. That was the beginning of everything. My name is Maya Santos, and this is the story of how the person I hated most in the world became the person Kai couldn't live without. Rebecca transferred to Lincoln High halfway through sophomore year, which should have made her the awkward new kid scrambling to fit in. Instead, she glided into our school like she owned it. She was tall, with straight black hair that fell perfectly down her back, sharp cheekbones, and an air of confidence that made everyone want to either be her or be near her. I'd been the top student in our grade since freshman year. Straight A's, president of the debate club, first chair violin and orchestra. I had my college applications planned out since I was 14. Everything was on track. Then Rebecca arrived, and shattered my carefully constructed world. She didn't just match my grades, she exceeded them. In chemistry, she scored 2 points higher than me on our first exam. 2 points. I'd stayed up until 2 a.m. studying, and she'd beaten me by 2 points. When I confronted her about it in the hallway, trying to figure out her secret, she just smiled this infuriating smile and said, "I guess I'm just good at chemistry." The way she said it, so casual, so dismissive, it lit something on fire inside me. From that moment on, it was war. Junior year turned our rivalry into legend. We competed for everything: class rankings, leadership positions, teachers' attention, scholarship opportunities. The entire school knew about us. People would gather around the bulletin board when test scores were posted. Waiting to see who'd won that round, Rebecca became vice president of the debate club when I refused to step down as president. She joined orchestra and somehow convinced Mrs. Kim to give her first chair in the spring concert, bumping me to second. I retaliated by founding a robotics club and winning a regional competition. She whomped me by placing at a state science fair. The worst part? She never seemed bothered by any of it. While I was losing sleep, obsessing over every grade and every competition, Rebecca floated through it all with that same infuriating calm. She'd pass me in the hallway with a serene smile, like our rivalry was just a mildly amusing game to her. It drove me absolutely insane. "You're obsessed with her," my best friend Jamie told me one day at lunch, after I'd spent 15 minutes analyzing Rebecca's performance in our latest debate tournament. I am not obsessed. I'm focused. There's a difference. You literally have a spreadsheet comparing your grades to hers. That's called being organized. Jamie raised an eyebrow. "Maya, you color-coded it." I stabbed at my salad, defensive. "She brings out my competitive side. That's all." But even I had to admit, it was more than that. Rebecca had gotten under my skin in a way no one else ever had. She occupied my thoughts constantly. Every achievement felt hollow unless I knew I'd beaten her. Every setback burned twice as much if she'd succeeded where I'd failed. I told myself it was just about winning, about being the best. I was lying. Senior year began with both of us tied for valedictorian. The administration announced they might name co-valedictorians if we remained tied, and I nearly had a breakdown. I didn't want to share that honor. I wanted to win definitively. But something strange started happening that fall. It began small. I noticed Rebecca looked tired one Monday, dark circles under her eyes. By Wednesday, she'd missed 2 days of school, something she never did. When she returned on Thursday, she seemed off, distracted. She actually got a B on a physics quiz, which was unheard of. I should have been thrilled. Instead, I felt concerned. The next week, I saw her in the library during lunch, her head in her hands, textbooks spread around her untouched. She looked so defeated, so unlike herself, that I felt a strange pull in my chest. Before I could think better of it, I walked over. "Are you okay?" I asked. Rebecca looked up, surprised to see me. "Maya, I'm fine." "You don't look fine." She laughed, but it was hollow. "Since when do you care?" That stung, probably because she was right. I don't. You're not yourself lately. It's throwing off my whole system. How am I supposed to beat you if you're not even trying?" It was meant to be a joke, sort of. But Rebecca's expression crumbled, and to my horror, her eyes filled with tears. "My parents are getting divorced," she said quietly. "My dad moved out last month. My mom's barely holding it together. My little brother's acting out at school. I'm trying to keep everything normal, but She trailed off, wiping her eyes quickly. "Sorry, you don't need to hear this." I stood there completely frozen. In 5 years of rivalry, I'd never considered that Rebecca might have problems, struggles, a life beyond our competition. I'd turned her into a villain in my story, an obstacle to overcome, when all along she'd been just another teenager dealing with her own pain. "I'm sorry," I said, and meant it. "That's really hard." She looked at me like I'd grown a second head. "You're not going to use this against me." "What?" "No, of course not. It's the fact that she thought I might made me feel sick." "Rebecca, we compete a lot, but I'm not a monster." She studied my face for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "Thanks." I sat down across from her without being invited. "Do you want to talk about it?" And somehow, improbably, we talked. Really talked for the first time ever. Rebecca told me about her parents fighting, about how she'd heard them arguing about money and blame and all the ways their marriage had failed. She told me about her little brother crying at night, about feeling like she had to be perfect to keep her family from falling apart completely. "That's why I transferred here," she admitted. My parents thought a fresh start might help, but it just meant I had to be perfect in a whole new place. "Is that why you're always so—" I searched for the word. "TOR, like nothing bothers you." She laughed bitterly. "I'm not calm. I'm terrified constantly. But if I let anyone see that, if I show any weakness, I feel like everything will just collapse." I understood that feeling more than I wanted to admit. "Me too," I said quietly. "I feel like if I'm not the best, if I'm not perfect, then what's the point of me?" Rebecca met my eyes, and something passed between us. "Recognition. Understanding. That's exhausting," she said. "Yeah," I agreed. "It really is." After that day in the library, things changed between us. Not dramatically, we still competed, still pushed each other in classes and clubs. But the sharp edge of hostility dulled into something more complicated. We started studying together sometimes, initially as a practical arrangement. If we were both gunning for the top scores, why not help each other understand the material? But study sessions turned into actual conversations. I learned that Rebecca wanted to be a doctor, that she volunteered at a free clinic on weekends, that she was terrified of disappointing her mother who'd sacrificed so much for her. Education. She learned that I was obsessed with marine biology, that I'd grown up on stories of my grandmother who'd been a fisherman in the Philippines, that I felt crushing pressure from my family to succeed in America in ways they never could. We were more alike than I'd ever imagined. "Why did you hate me so much?" Rebecca asked one evening in late October. We were at the public library, supposedly working on college applications. But we'd long since gotten distracted. I considered the question seriously. "I don't think I did hate you. I think I was threatened by you. You were everything I was trying to be, and you made it look effortless." "It wasn't effortless," she said. "I was just good at hiding the effort. I know that now." She was quiet for a moment, then said, "I was jealous of you too, you know." That surprised me. Of me. Why? You always seemed so genuine, passionate, like you actually cared about things beyond just winning. I watched you at debate club, getting fired up about real issues. I realized I'd been so focused on being perfect that I'd forgotten what I actually cared about. I felt my face heat up. "I spent 2 years obsessing over beating you." "That's not exactly noble." "No," she agreed, a smile playing at her lips. "But it's human." Our eyes met, and I felt a flutter in my chest that had nothing to do with competition. Oh no. Oh no. I tried to ignore it at first, that flutter. The way my heart raced when Rebecca smiled at me. The way I found myself looking for her in the hallways, in classes, in the cafeteria. The way our study sessions became the highlight of my week. It's just because we're finally friends, I told myself. After years of rivalry, it's nice to not hate each other. That's all this is. But then November arrived, and with it, the first snow of the season. We were leaving school late after a debate club meeting, and the parking lot was covered in fresh powder. Rebecca stepped out of the building and immediately spun around, arms outstretched, face tilted up to catch snowflakes on her tongue. "It's beautiful," she said, laughing. I'd seen snow every winter of my life. It had never made me feel the way I felt watching Rebecca twirl in it, her hair flying, her face lit up with pure joy. She looked like something out of a dream, and I couldn't breathe. Maya. She'd stopped spinning and was looking at me with concern. "You okay?" "You look weird." "Fine," I managed. "Just cold." But I wasn't fine. I was falling apart because I just realized I was attracted to Rebecca Chen. Maybe had been for longer than I wanted to admit. Maybe all that obsession, all that focus, all those years of thinking about her constantly, maybe it had never been just about competition. I drove home in a daze and immediately called Jamie. "I think I like Rebecca." I blurted out as soon as they answered. "Yeah, obviously, what?" "Maya, you've been obsessed with this girl for 3 years. I figured out you had a crush on her like sophomore year." "I did not have a crush on her sophomore year. I hated her." "Unhung." "Sure, that's why you could describe every outfit she wore and tracked her every achievement and talked about her constantly." I fell back on my bed, staring at my ceiling. Oh my God. Have I been in love with her this whole time? "Love might be a strong word," Jamie said diplomatically. "But yeah, you've definitely been into her. The question is, what are you going to do about it?" "Nothing," I said immediately. "Absolutely nothing. We just became friends. I'm not going to ruin that." "Maya?" "No, Jamie, I'm serious. She's straight anyway. She dated that guy from the soccer team last year, remember? She dated him for like 3 weeks before dumping him. Still, I'm not risking our friendship over something that's never going to happen." Famous last words. Knowing I had feelings for Rebecca made everything both better and worse. Better because I finally understood why I'd been so obsessed with her for so long. Worse because now every moment we spent together was torture. I noticed everything about her. The way she tucked her hair behind her ear when she was concentrating. The small scar on her chin from a childhood accident. How she always ordered chai lattes with extra cinnamon. The way her eyes crinkled when she found something genuinely funny. I was hopeless. December brought college application deadlines and with them unprecedented stress. Rebecca and I ended up spending hours together, proofreading each other's essays, quizzing each other for finals, having minor breakdowns over supplemental questions. One night, we were in her room the first time I'd been to her house. Her mom was working a night shift and her brother was at a friend's house. We were sprawled on her bed, surrounded by printed essays covered in red pen marks. "I can't do this anymore," Rebecca groaned, flopping backward dramatically. "My brain is mush. Tell me something interesting. Tell me anything that isn't about college applications." I set down my pen and thought about it. "Okay, did you know that some species of jellyfish are biologically immortal?" "Really?" She turned her head to look at me, interested. "They can reverse their aging process indefinitely under certain conditions. They essentially reset themselves to an earlier stage of development when they're stressed or injured." "That's amazing. Is that why you want to study marine biology?" "Because of jellyfish." "Partially, but mostly because the ocean is this whole world we barely understand. There are creatures down there we haven't even discovered yet. Entire ecosystems thriving in conditions we thought were impossible for life." I was getting animated now, the way I always did when I talked about the ocean. It's like there's so much mystery left in the world, you know? So much we don't know. Rebecca was watching me with this soft expression I couldn't quite read. "You're beautiful when you talk about things you love," she said quietly. My heart stopped. "What?" She seemed to realize what she'd said and sat up quickly, face flushing. "I mean, your passion is beautiful. The way you talk about marine biology, it's nice." The air in the room had changed, charged with something electric. We were sitting very close on her bed, and I could see the rapid rise and fall of her chest, matching my own. "Rebecca," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "Yeah? Can I tell you something?" She nodded, not breaking eye contact. "I don't think I ever really hated you," I said. "I think I was just scared of how much I wanted your attention, how much I wanted you to notice me." "I noticed you," she said softly. "Maya, I always noticed you. From the very first day." We were leaning closer now, pulled together by some magnetic force I couldn't resist. My eyes dropped to her lips, then back to her eyes. She was doing the same thing. We shouldn't. I started. "I know," she breathed, but neither of us pulled away. Rebecca kissed me first. She closed the distance between us, her hand coming up to cup my face, and pressed her lips to mine. Soft, tentative, questioning. I answered by kissing her back. It was nothing like I'd imagined. And I had imagined it more than I wanted to admit. It was better. She tasted like the peppermint tea we'd been drinking, and her lips were soft. And when she made this small sound in the back of her throat, I felt it all the way down to my toes. We broke apart, both breathing hard, staring at each other in shock. "I've wanted to do that for so long," Rebecca whispered. "How long?" "Since junior year. Maybe longer. I don't know. I kept telling myself it was just rivalry, just competition. But Maya," she touched my face gently, her thumb stroking my cheek. "I think I've been falling for you for years, years." I felt dizzy. "Rebecca, I thought you were straight. You dated Jackson." She laughed shakily. "I dated Jackson for 3 weeks to try to convince myself I wasn't spending every waking moment thinking about you. It didn't work. I broke up with him because every time he kissed me, I wished he was you. Couldn't process this. It was too much, too overwhelming." "Why didn't you say anything?" "Why didn't you?" She countered. "You hated me, Maya. Or at least, I thought you did. And then we became friends, and I thought maybe you might feel the same way. But I was terrified of being wrong, of ruining everything." "I could never hate you," I said fiercely. "I tried. God knows I tried. But Rebecca, you're brilliant and kind and beautiful, and being around you makes me want to be better. You drive me crazy, but not in the way I thought. You drive me crazy because you're all I think about." She kissed me again, harder this time, more certain. I tangled my hands in her hair and kissed her back like she was oxygen and I'd been drowning. We fell back against her pillows, laughing and kissing and trading whispered confessions between breaths. "I used to watch you play violin in orchestra," she admitted. "You'd get this look on your face, like nothing else existed but the music. It was mesmerizing." "I memorized your debate schedule so I could watch you compete," I confessed. "Even when I wasn't debating, I'd sit in the back of the room just to see you destroy your opponents. That's kind of creepy. You're one to talk." "Stalker," she laughed and kissed me again. And I thought I might die from happiness. Reality crashed back in the next morning when I woke up to 17 texts from Jamie. "Where are you?" "You never came home last night. Your mom called my mom. Maya. Did something happen with Rebecca?" Oh my God, did something happen with Rebecca? I'd fallen asleep at Rebecca's house, fully clothed on top of her covers, curled up in her arms. We'd stayed up half the night talking, kissing, planning. Now, in the cold light of morning, panic set in. "My mom is going to kill me," I said, sitting up quickly. Rebecca stirred beside me, smiling sleepily before she remembered the situation. "Oh no, my mom will be home soon too. She can't find you here." The magic of the night before evaporated as we scrambled to figure out logistics. I snuck out before Rebecca's mom returned from her shift, drove home to face my mother's wrath about not calling, and spent the rest of the day in my room, alternating between euphoric replays of kissing Rebecca and anxious spirals about what this all meant. Rebecca and I texted constantly. My mom grounded me for a week. Same. Worth it, though. Definitely worth it. What do we do now? "What do you mean?" "About us. About school. Do we tell people?" That was the question, wasn't it? Coming out was one thing. Coming out while dating your former rival who everyone knew you'd hated for years. That was something else entirely. Let's just see how it goes, I suggested. We don't have to rush. But high school doesn't allow for subtlety. The rumors started on Monday. Someone had seen my car parked outside Rebecca's house all night. Someone else noticed us texting in class and smiling at each other. By lunch, the speculation had reached a fever pitch. Is it true? Jamie cornered me at my locker, eyes wide. Are you and Rebecca Chen actually together? I don't know what we are, I admitted. We kissed. We like each other. But we haven't really defined anything. Maya Santos, queen of organization and planning, doesn't have a label for her relationship status. This is serious. I groaned. Don't make fun of me. I'm freaking out. What are you freaking out about? Everything. What if people react badly? What if it ruins our college applications? What if we try dating and it doesn't work and we lose our friendship? What if Maya? Jamie put their hands on my shoulders. Breathe. You're spiraling. They were right. I took a deep breath, then another. Look, Jamie said gently, I can't tell you how people will react. Some people will be weird about it because people are weird about everything. But Maya, I've watched you be miserable for 3 years because of your feelings for this girl. Now you're finally happy. Don't let fear take that away. They were right, but that didn't make it less terrifying. Rebecca found me after school. We need to talk, she said, and my stomach dropped. Okay, we went to her car, parked in the far corner of the lot. She turned to face me, her expression serious. People are talking, she said. I know. That's amazing, Rebecca. What about you? Are you out to your parents? I shook my head. Not yet. My family is pretty traditional. I don't know how they'll react. You don't have to tell them until you're ready, she said quickly. I don't want to pressure you. It's not about pressure. It's about struggle to find the words. I spent so long being perfect for them. The perfect daughter. The perfect student. I don't know if they can handle another way I'm different from what they expected. Rebecca took my hand, threading our fingers together. Maya, you're not different. You're exactly who you've always been. They just get to know you better. I wanted to believe that. But fear and hope warred in my chest. What do we do about school? I asked. I think we should be honest, Rebecca said. We don't have to make some big announcement, but if people ask, we don't lie. I'm tired of hiding parts of myself. I've been doing that for years, trying to be perfect, trying to be what everyone expects. I don't want to hide this too. Hide you. The way she said it with such conviction made my heart swell. "'Kay," I agreed. "We'll be honest." She smiled and leaned over to kiss me, soft and sweet. When we pulled apart, I saw movement in my peripheral vision. There, 3 cars down, was Marcus Chen from our calculus class, staring at us with his mouth open. "Oh God," I said. Marcus saw us. Rebecca glanced over and waved. "Hi, Marcus." Marcus waved back weakly, still looking shocked, and practically ran to his car. Well, Rebecca said, starting to laugh. "That's one way to come out." I started laughing too, slightly hysterical. "Everyone's going to know by tomorrow, probably. Are you scared?" She considered the question seriously. "A little, but mostly I'm just happy. I'm happy I get to be with you. Everything else we'll figure out." I kissed her again, right there in the school parking lot where anyone could see, and thought maybe Rebecca was right. Maybe we would figure it out. Marcus did indeed tell everyone. By Tuesday morning, the entire school knew that Rebecca Chen and Maya Santos' rivals, competitors, enemies were dating. The reactions were mixed. Some people were supportive. Jamie, of course, was thrilled. Several of our friends from debate club and orchestra congratulated us. Ms. Rodriguez, our English teacher, gave me a knowing smile when I walked into class. Others were less kind. I heard whispers in the hallway, saw people staring. Someone left a note in my locker with a slur on it. A guy from the football team made a crude comment when Rebecca and I walked past him. That last one sent Rebecca into a fury. She turned on him with such ferocity that he actually backed up. You want to repeat that? She demanded, her voice ice cold. I was just joking. No, you were being a bigot. There's a difference. Say something like that again about Maya or anyone else, and I'll make sure Coach Matthews hears about it. I'm sure he'd love to know his players are creating a hostile environment. The guy paled and hurried away. Rebecca turned to me, her anger melting into concern. You okay? She asked. I was shaken but tried to hide it. Yeah, I'm fine. No, you're not. She took my hand right there in the hallway in front of everyone. It's okay to not be fine. People are being jerks. Some people, I corrected. Not everyone still. It sucks. It did suck. But having Rebecca beside me made it bearable. The hardest part was telling my parents. I put it off for a week, then 2. Rebecca never pressured me. But I could tell she was hurt that I hadn't told them about us. Finally, on a Sunday afternoon, I gathered my courage and asked my parents if we could talk. My mother looked worried immediately. What's wrong? Are your grades okay? Did something happen with your college applications? No, nothing like that. I took a deep breath. I'm dating someone. Rebecca Chen, from school. The silence that followed was deafening. My father spoke first. Rebecca is a girl's name. Yes, I said quietly. She is. My mother's face went through several expressions. Confusion, realization, shock. Maya, are you saying you're gay? I don't know about labels yet. But yes, I like girls. I like Rebecca specifically. More silence. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it might burst out of my chest. How long has this been going on? My father asked. It's a few weeks. But I've had feelings for her longer. Why didn't you tell us sooner? My mother's voice cracked slightly. 'Cause I was scared, I admitted. Scared you'd be disappointed in me? Scared you wouldn't accept me. You've always had such specific expectations for my life, and this doesn't fit into that plan. My mother surprised me by tearing up. Maya, we don't want you to be scared of us. We're your parents. We love you no matter what. Do you? The question came out smaller than I intended. Course we do, my father said firmly. You're our daughter. This is unexpected. We need time to process. But Maya, nothing could make us stop loving you. What's imperfect? They had questions, concerns. They worried about me facing discrimination. They asked if I was sure if this was just a phase. But they didn't reject me. They didn't kick me out or tell me I was going to hell. When I texted Rebecca that night to tell her how it went, she called me immediately. How are you feeling? She asked, relieved, scared, happy, all of it. That makes sense? I'm proud of you, you know. I know that couldn't have been easy. It wasn't. But it was necessary. I don't want to hide anymore. I don't want to hide us. Me neither. We talked for hours that night, the way we'd been doing every night since we got together. About our days, our fears, our dreams. About the colleges we'd applied to and what it might mean for our relationship. About how strange it was to go from rivals to this, whatever this was. I love you, Rebecca said suddenly, right in the middle of a story about her brother's science fair project. What? I love you, she repeated, more confidently this time. I know it's soon, and I know we're still figuring things out, but Maya, I love you. I think I've loved you for a long time, even when I didn't understand what that feeling was. Tears sprang to my eyes. I love you too, I whispered. God, Rebecca, I love you so much it scares me. Good scary or bad scary? Good scary, like jumping off a cliff scary, but knowing you'll catch me. Always, she promised. I'll always catch you. It's April now, almost 5 months since that first kiss. The world hasn't ended. High school hasn't imploded. We're both still competing for. Valedictorian, some things never change, but now it's friendly, supportive. We push each other to be better while celebrating each other's successes. We got our college acceptances last week. I got into UC Santa Barbara for marine biology. Rebecca got into Columbia for pre-med. We're going to be on opposite sides of the country, and that terrifies both of us. But we've decided to try to make it work. Long distance isn't impossible, Rebecca said when we talked about it. People do it all the time. Most of those people break up. We're not most people, she pointed out. We survived 5 years of rivalry. I think we can survive a few years of distance. She was right, probably. We'd survived worse than physical distance. Today is prom night. Rebecca asked me to be her date by making a sign that said, "I've been falling for you for 5 years. Let's make it official," and holding it up in the middle of the cafeteria. Half the school applauded. The other half rolled their eyes at the drama of it all. I said yes, obviously. Now I'm standing in front of my mirror, adjusting my dress for the 100th time. It's deep blue, like the ocean, because Rebecca said it would match my eyes. She's wearing burgundy. We're going to look ridiculous together color-wise, but I don't care. My phone buzzes with a text. I'm outside. Ready to see you. I take one last look in the mirror. A year ago, I never could have imagined this moment. Being happy. Being open. Being loved by the person I thought was my enemy. Funny how the thing you think you want most, being the best, beating everyone else, turns out to be empty compared to the thing you didn't know you needed. Connection. Understanding. Love. I head downstairs where my parents are waiting with their cameras. They've come a long way in the past few months. My mom even helped me pick out my dress. When I step outside, Rebecca is standing by her car and my breath catches. She's beautiful, always. But tonight, she's radiant. Her eyes light up when she sees me. "Wow," she says. "Maya, you look." "You too," I manage. She takes my hand and we pose for what feels like 1,000,000 photos while our parents fuss over us. Finally, they let us go and we drive to the hotel where prom is being held. Dot in the car. Rebecca reaches over and laces her fingers through mine. "Thank you," she says. "For what?" "For pushing me. For challenging me. For making me want to be better. For 5 years of rivalry that turned into this." I bring her hand to my lips and kiss her knuckles. "Thank you for seeing me. For competing with me. For kissing me. For loving me. Always," she promises. We pull into the parking lot and I can hear the music from inside. In a few hours, we'll be dancing together, officially in front of everyone. Tomorrow, we'll probably be studying together for finals. In a few months, we'll be saying goodbye as we head to opposite coasts. But right now, in this moment, everything is perfect. Rebecca turns off the car and looks at me. "Ready?" I squeeze her hand and smile. "With you. Always." We get out of the car and Rebecca comes around to my side. She offers me her arm and I take it. Together, we walk toward the hotel entrance, toward the music and lights and our classmates, toward whatever comes next. 5 years ago, I saw Rebecca Chen as my enemy, my rival. The obstacle standing between me and everything I wanted. I was so wrong. She wasn't my obstacle. She was my catalyst. The person who pushed me to be better, to work harder, to dig deeper. And somewhere along the way, in all that competition and rivalry and tension, I fell completely, utterly, hopelessly in love. They say you can't choose who you love. But if I could choose, I'd choose her. Every single time. My rival. My partner. By love. We walk through the doors together, ready to face whatever comes next, together. And really, that's all that matters. The gym was still decorated with wilted streamers and deflating balloons when Rebecca and I snuck back in at midnight. We'd left prom hours ago with everyone else, but something pulled us back, maybe nostalgia. Maybe the need to hold on to this moment a little longer? Remember when we had that debate tournament here freshman year? Rebecca asked, her voice echoing in the empty space. She was still in her burgundy dress, her heels dangling from her hand. "You mean when you accused me of using a logical fallacy and I spent 2 weeks researching just to prove you wrong?" She laughed, the sound bouncing off the walls. "You were so mad. Your face got all red and you wouldn't even look at me for days." "'Cause you were right," I admitted, sitting down on the edge of the stage. I had used a logical fallacy, but I was too stubborn to admit it. Rebecca sat beside me, close enough that our shoulders touched. "I wasn't trying to embarrass you, you know. I just I wanted you to notice me. Mission accomplished. I leaned my head on her shoulder. You've had my attention for 5 years straight. Good. She kissed the top of my head. I plan to keep it for at least 5 more. 5 more years. It sounded like forever and not nearly long enough at the same time. I'm scared. I confessed into the darkness. About September. About being apart. Me too. Her voice was soft. But Maya, we've survived hating each other. Dating has to be easier than that. I laughed despite my anxiety. You'd think so, but at least when I hated you, I didn't care if you met someone else at Columbia and forgot about me. Rebecca pulled back to look at me, her expression serious. That's not going to happen. You don't know that? Yes, I do. She took both my hands in hers. Maya Santos, I have spent 5 years unable to think about anyone but you. 5 years where you occupied my every thought, my every motivation, my every moment. You think a few thousand miles is going to change that? People change, especially in college. Then we'll change together. We'll video call every day. We'll visit on breaks. We'll send each other care packages and study together over FaceTime and make it work because that's what we do. We work harder than everyone else. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to believe that our love could survive distance and change and all the ways college would transform us. Promise me something, I said. Anything. Promise me, we'll be honest. If you meet someone, if your feelings change, if long distance gets too hard, promise you'll tell me. I'd rather have the truth than wonder. Rebecca's eyes shimmered with tears. I promise. But Maya, my feelings aren't going to change. I love you. I'm in love with you. That's not going away. I love you too, I whispered, and kissed her there in the empty gym where our rivalry had played out so many times before. When we finally left that night, driving through the empty streets of our small town, I felt something shift. This chapter of our lives was ending. In 3 months, everything would change. I just had to trust that we were strong enough to survive it. Summer arrived with oppressive heat and the kind of lazy days that should have been perfect. Rebecca and I spent every possible moment together, acutely aware that our time was limited. Beach days, late-night drives, making out in my car at scenic overlooks. We were trying to compress a lifetime of memories into 3 short months. But the pressure of our impending separation created tension in unexpected ways. Did you decide about the orientation trip? Rebecca asked one afternoon. We were at her house, supposedly packing for her family vacation, but mostly just lying on her bed avoiding the inevitable. I think I'm going to do it. It's a week-long kayaking trip before classes start. Good way to meet people. She was quiet for a moment. That's the same week as my orientation. I know, so we won't get to talk for a week. Right before we start college, I sat up, defensive. Rebecca, we can't plan our entire college experiences around coordinating schedules. That's not realistic. I'm not asking you to plan your entire experience around me. I'm just saying it would be nice to have your support during orientation. It's going to be scary and new and you'll be fine. I cut her off. You're Rebecca Chen. You walked into a new school's sophomore year and became the top student within weeks. You don't need me to hold your hand? She flinched like I'd slapped her. Is that really what you think? That I don't need you? That's not what I meant. Then what did you mean, Maya? Because it sounds like you're already trying to convince yourself you'll be fine without me. Maybe I am. The words burst out before I could stop them. Maybe I'm terrified that if I need you too much, if I depend on you too much, when things inevitably get hard, it'll destroy me. So yes, maybe I'm trying to prepare myself for the reality that we're going to be living separate lives 3,000 miles apart. Silence filled the room. Rebecca's eyes were bright with unshed tears. You don't believe we can make it work, she said quietly. You've already decided we're going to fail. That's not fair, isn't it? She stood up, wrapping her arms around herself. Every time we talk about the future, you bring up all the ways it could go wrong. Every time I try to make plans, you shut down. You're protecting yourself. I get it. But Maya, you're protecting yourself from me. She was right, and that made it worse. I was self-sabotaging, building walls to protect myself from the hurt I was sure was coming. "I'm sorry," I said, my voice breaking. "I'm just scared. I've never felt this way about anyone." "And the thought of losing you? You're not going to lose me," Rebecca insisted, sitting back down beside me. "But you will lose me if you keep pushing me away. If you keep treating our relationship like it's already over." I buried my face in my hands. "I don't know how to do this. How to love someone and trust that it'll be okay." "Neither do I," she admitted. "This is my first real relationship too. But Maya, we figure it out together. That's the whole point." She pulled my hands away from my face and kissed me, soft and forgiving. When we broke apart, she rested her forehead against mine. "We're going to fight sometimes," she said. "We're going to have hard moments. But we have to promise to work through them, not run away from them." "I promise," I whispered. "I'll try to be better, to trust more. That's all I'm asking." We spent the rest of the afternoon actually packing, stealing kisses between folding clothes, trying to memorize every detail of each other before she left for her trip. But the fight lingered in the back of my mind, a preview of the challenges to come. Rebecca's family trip to visit relatives in Taiwan lasted 3 weeks. 3 weeks where we dealt with a 13-hour time difference and spotty internet connection. It was, as Rebecca said, practice for college. The practice was brutal. We'd schedule video calls only to have one of us fall asleep waiting for the other. Messages got lost in translation across time zones. I'd wake up to paragraphs from Rebecca about her day that had already ended, making me feel like I was living in her past. "I miss you so much it physically hurts." I texted her one night at 3 a.m. my time, 4 p.m. hers. "I miss you too. Only 5 more days. That feels like forever." "I know. But hey, if we can survive this, we can survive anything, right?" I wanted to believe that. But doubt crept in during the lonely hours. On one of our video calls, I noticed Rebecca seemed distracted. "Everything okay?" I asked. "Yeah, sorry. My cousin Amy just got here. She wants me to go explore the night market with her." "Oh, okay. You should go." "Are you sure?" "We haven't talked much today." "Sure. Go have fun." After we hung up, I scrolled through Instagram and saw Rebecca had posted stories from the night market. Her cousin Amy was beautiful, laughing in several of the photos. Her hand on Rebecca's arm? I felt sick with jealousy. "It's her cousin," I told myself. "You're being ridiculous." But the feeling wouldn't go away. That night, I barely slept. The next time we talked, Rebecca could tell something was wrong. "Maya, what's going on?" "Nothing. Don't do that. Don't shut me out." We promised to be honest. I took a breath. "I saw your Instagram stories." "With your cousin." Rebecca's expression softened with understanding. "You're jealous. Stupid." "It's not stupid. Maya, Amy is my cousin. My literal blood relative. But I understand feeling insecure when we're apart and I'm posting about doing fun things with other people." "I trust you," I said quickly. "I do. It's just hard seeing you having these experiences without me." "No. But that's going to be our reality in college. We're going to have separate experiences, separate friends, separate lives in some ways. We have to be okay with that while still being together." "How?" The question came out plaintive, almost desperate. "By trusting each other, by communicating, by remembering why we love each other even when we're apart." She smiled sadly. "This is hard for me too. You know, I see you posting beach photos with Jamie and your other friends, and I wish I was there. But I'm also glad you're having fun. Because I love you and I want you to be happy, even when I can't be the one making you happy." Her words hit me hard. She was right. We needed to find a way to be supportive of each other's separate experiences while maintaining our connection. "You're wiser than me," I said. "Hardly. I just had my mom give me a long talk about healthy relationships after I spent an hour crying about missing you last week. That made me feel simultaneously better and worse. You cried about me. Obviously. Maya, I'm madly in love with you. Of course I cry about missing you. I love you too. So much, I know. And in 5 days, I'll be home and we'll have almost a whole month together before we leave for college. We'll make it count. When she returned, sun-kissed and carrying gifts for me, we spent every possible moment together. We kayaked in the bay, had picnics on the beach, stargazed from the roof of her car. We talked about everything and nothing, trying to create a foundation strong enough to last through separation. On our last night together before college, we drove to our favorite overlook. The city lights sparkled below us, and the ocean was a dark mass in the distance. "I wish we could stay here forever," Rebecca said, her head on my shoulder. "Me too, but we can't." No, she pulled back to look at me. "Maya Santos, I'm going to miss you every single day. But I'm also excited for you. You're going to study oceans and discover amazing things and become the brilliant marine biologist you're meant to be. And I'm going to cheer you on from across the country. I'm going to watch you become an amazing doctor and save lives and make the world better. Even if I have to watch from 3,000 miles away." 3,254 miles, she corrected with a small smile. "I calculated it." "Of course you did." We kissed as the stars wheeled overhead, trying to memorize the feel of each other, the taste, the warmth. Tomorrow, everything would change. But tonight, we were still together. And for now, that was enough. Move-in day arrived too quickly. My parents insisted on driving me to Santa Barbara, turning it into a whole family road trip. Rebecca's flight to New York was the same day, so we had to say goodbye the night before. We met at the beach at sunset, our special spot. The place where we'd had our first kiss as a couple, right after prom. The sand was still warm under my feet, and the waves crashed in their eternal rhythm. Rebecca was already there when I arrived, sitting on a blanket, watching the ocean. "Hey," I said softly. Sitting beside her, "Hey yourself." She took my hand, threading our fingers together. "Last sunset before everything changes." "Don't say that. We're not changing. Just our zip codes." She smiled sadly. "Maya, we're definitely changing. We're going to be different people by Christmas break. New experiences, new friends, new perspectives. That's not bad, it's growth. But let's not pretend it won't be different." I hated that she was right. What if we grow apart? What if we grow together? She countered. What if going to different places makes us stronger? We'll have more to talk about, more to share. We'll be whole people separately, which will make us better together. When did you become so wise? When I fell in love with a girl who makes me want to be better. The sun was sinking lower, painting the sky in oranges and pinks and purples. We sat in silence, watching it disappear below the horizon. "I'm terrified," Rebecca admitted quietly, "of losing you, of not being enough when you're surrounded by new people, of the distance destroying what we have." "I'm terrified too," I confessed. "But Rebecca, you've been the most important person in my life for 5 years. That's not changing because of some miles between us." "Promise me something," she said, turning to face me. "Anything. Promise me we'll really try. That we won't give up at the first sign of trouble. That we'll fight for this, for us. I promise," I said, meaning it with everything in me. "I'll fight for you. For us. Always." We kissed as the last light faded from the sky, and I tasted salt from the ocean's spray or our tears. I couldn't tell. "I love you," Rebecca whispered against my lips. "I love you so much. I love you too. More than anything." We stayed on that beach until the stars came out, holding each other, whispering promises and plans. We'd video call every day. We'd visit at Thanksgiving if we could afford it. We'd send care packages and letters and reminders that, despite the distance, we're still together. When we finally had to leave, Rebecca walked me to my car. "This isn't goodbye," she said firmly. "It's just see you later." "See you later," I echoed, even though my heart was breaking. One more kiss. Long and desperate and full of everything we couldn't say. Then she stepped back and I got in my car and I drove away in my rearview mirror. I watched Rebecca standing under the streetlight watching me leave. I made it 3 blocks before I had to pull over because I couldn't see through my tears. My phone buzzed. I love you. Get home safe. Tomorrow's going to be hard, but we've got this. I typed back with shaking hands. I love you too. We've got this. But as I drove home through the dark streets, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were making a terrible mistake. That love, no matter how strong, couldn't survive 3,000 miles of separation. I'd never wanted so badly to be wrong. My first week at UC Santa Barbara was overwhelming in ways I couldn't have anticipated. My roommate, a girl named Priya from Sacramento, was friendly and outgoing and seemed to know exactly what she was doing. I felt lost, Rebecca, and I managed to video call every night, but the time difference made it difficult. When I was free at 9 p.m. Pacific, it was midnight Eastern. And Rebecca was usually exhausted from her own orientation activities. How's it going? She asked on our fourth night, stifling a yawn. Good. Lots of icebreakers. I met some people in my marine bio program. They seem nice. That's great. She sounded genuinely happy, even through her tiredness. I'm glad you're meeting people. What about you? How's Columbia? Intense. The pre-med students here are cutthroat. Makes our high school rivalry look friendly. She laughed, but it sounded strained. I miss you. I miss you too. But even as I said it, part of me was distracted. My floor was having a movie night, and I could hear laughter coming from the common room. I wanted to be there, wanted to be part of it. You should go, Rebecca said, reading my mind like she always could. I can hear your floor. Go make friends, Maya. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Are you sure? Positive. I'm about to pass out anyway. I love you. I love you too. After we hung up, I joined the movie night. That's where I met Zoe. Zoe was a junior, a marine bio major like me, with curly brown hair and an infectious laugh. She immediately took me under her wing, introducing me to everyone, making me feel included. You're going to love it here, she said, handing me a bowl of popcorn. The marine bio program is incredible. Have you been to the aquarium yet? Not yet. Oh, we have to go. I volunteer there on weekends. I can get you in free. Over the next few weeks, Zoe became my guide to college life. She showed me the best study spots, the coffee shop with the cheapest lattes, the beach where the marine bio students hung out. She was friendly and helpful and completely platonically interested in being my friend. So why did I feel guilty every time I hung out with her? Rebecca and I were still talking every day, but our conversations were getting shorter. We were both busy, both exhausted, both trying to navigate new worlds. The easy flow of conversation we'd always had started feeling forced. How was your day? Became our standard opening. Fine. Yours? Good. Busy. Pause. I miss you. I miss you too. Another pause. I should probably get to bed. Early class tomorrow. Me too. Love you too. It wasn't bad, exactly. But it wasn't enough either. In October, things came to a head. Rebecca had been dealing with a difficult roommate. Her roommate's boyfriend was essentially living in their room, and she was stressed about her first round of midterms. I'd been trying to be supportive, but I was dealing with my own stress about my first college exams. I don't think you understand how hard this is, Rebecca said during one of our calls. She looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes. I do understand. I'm going through the same thing. Are you, though? Because from what you've told me, your roommate is great. You've already made friends. You're loving your classes. Meanwhile, I'm barely keeping my head above water here. That's not fair, I said, defensive. Just because I'm not complaining constantly doesn't mean everything's perfect. I'm not complaining constantly. You kind of are, Rebecca. Every call lately has been about how hard things are for you. What about asking how I'm doing? She looked stung. I always ask how you're doing. And I always say, fine, and you immediately go back to talking about Columbia. Because I'm struggling, Maya. I thought you'd want to support me. I do want to support you. But I also need support sometimes. And lately, this relationship feels very one-sided. We stared at each other through our screens, both breathing hard. Maybe this was a mistake, Rebecca said quietly. My heart stopped. What? This, us, long distance. Maybe we should have just ended things when we went to college. You don't mean that? Her eyes were filling with tears. Maya, we're barely holding it together, and it's only been 2 months. What happens when it's been 6 months? A year? Are we just going to keep having these fights and feeling miserable? We're not miserable. I am, she interrupted. I'm miserable without you. And I'm miserable trying to maintain this relationship while also trying to survive college. Maybe it would be easier if we just let go. The words hung between us like a death sentence. Is that what you want? I asked, my voice breaking. To let go? Rebecca covered her face with her hands. I don't know what I want anymore. I'm so tired, Maya. I'm so tired of missing you and trying and feeling like I'm failing at everything. You're not failing? Yes, I am. I'm failing you. I'm barely passing my classes. My roommate hates me. I have no friends here. Everything is falling apart and I don't know how to fix it. She was sobbing now, and I wished desperately that I could hold her, comfort her, fix everything. But I was 3,000 miles away, completely helpless. Rebecca, baby, listen to me. You're not failing. You're adjusting. College is hard for everyone at first. It gets better. How do you know? Because it's getting better for me, slowly. And it'll get better for you too. But you have to give it time. What about us? She asked, wiping her eyes. How do we get better? That was the question, wasn't it? I don't know, I admitted, but I know I don't want to give up. Do you? She was quiet for a long moment. No, she finally said. I don't want to give up. But Maya, we need to change something. This isn't working, okay? What do we change? Maybe we don't have to talk every single day. Maybe the pressure of maintaining daily calls is making this harder. The suggestion hurt, even though I knew it was practical. So what? We just talk less. We talk when we actually have things to say, quality over quantity. And we give each other permission to focus on our lives here without feeling guilty. It made sense, but it also felt like we were giving up in a different way. Okay, I agreed reluctantly. We can try that. And Maya, we need to be really honest with each other. If one of us starts developing feelings for someone else, if this stops working, we tell each other immediately. No dragging it out. Why are you talking like this is inevitable? Because I'm trying to be realistic, she said tiredly. We're 18. We're in college. The odds are against us, and pretending otherwise is just setting us up for more pain. I don't want to be realistic, I said, tears streaming down my face now. I want to believe in us. I want to believe too, Rebecca said, crying again. But Maya, wanting something isn't enough. We have to actually make it work, and let's make it work. Let's try this new approach, and let's really commit to it. She nodded. Okay, I love you. I hope you know that. Love you too. So much. After we hung up, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, wondering if we'd just saved our relationship or begun its ending. The story continues with Maya and Rebecca navigating the complexities of maintaining their relationship across distance, personal growth, and the inevitable changes that come with college life. Their journey tests everything they thought they knew about love, commitment, and what it means to truly be there for someone when you can't physically be present. The new arrangement helped, initially. Rebecca and I talked 3 or 4 times a week instead of every day, and the conversations felt less forced. She started making friends in her organic chemistry study group. I joined the marine biology club and started volunteering at the aquarium with Zoe. But the distance between us was growing in ways that had nothing to do with miles. I can't afford to fly home for Thanksgiving, Rebecca told me in early November. The tickets are insane, and my mom's hours got cut at work. I'm just going to stay on campus. My heart sank. But we were supposed to see each other. No? I'm sorry, Maya. I wanted to see you too, but I just can't swing it financially. What if I helped pay for your ticket? No. Her voice was firm. I'm not taking your money. You're already barely affording school yourself. She was right. I was working a part-time job at the campus bookstore to help with expenses, and money was tight. But the thought of not seeing her for another month felt unbearable. So what? We just wait until winter break. I asked, trying to keep the disappointment out of my voice and failing. I guess so. It's only a few more weeks after Thanksgiving. Only a few more weeks. It felt like forever. When Thanksgiving week arrived, I flew home to find everything familiar yet strange. My room looked the same, but I felt different. My parents asked about school, and I told them the sanitized version classes were good. I was making friends. Everything was fine. I didn't tell them that I cried myself to sleep some nights missing Rebecca, that our relationship felt like it was slowly dissolving, that I was starting to wonder if love was supposed to be this hard. Jamie came over the day after Thanksgiving, and we ended up in my room like old times. "So how's the long-distance thing going?" they asked, sprawling on my bed. I struggled to find the words. "It's really hard, Jamie. Harder than I thought it would be. You guys talked about maybe taking a break?" Rebecca sort of suggested it during a fight last month. But then we decided to try making it work. And is it working? I was quiet for too long. Jamie sat up, concerned. "Maya, if you're this unhappy, I'm not unhappy," I interrupted. "I love her. I love Rebecca so much it hurts. But I'm starting to love my life at Santa Barbara. My classes, my friends, the research opportunities. And I feel guilty about that. Like I'm supposed to be miserable without her. That's not healthy. I know." I buried my face in my hands. But I don't know what to do about it. Every time I think about breaking up with her, I feel sick. But staying together like this with all this distance and stress, that makes me feel sick too. "Have you told Rebecca any of this?" "Not really. We're supposed to be making it work. I don't want to be the one who gives up." Jamie looked at me with sympathy. "Maya, being honest about your feelings isn't giving up. It's actually the opposite." That night, I texted Rebecca, "Can we video call tomorrow?" "Sure. Everything okay?" "Yeah, just miss you." "Want to actually talk?" "Miss you too." "Tomorrow at 8 your time?" "Perfect." But when tomorrow came, I chickened out. We talked about surface things, her Thanksgiving dinner in the dining hall with her new friends, my family's traditional meal. We laughed about old high school memories. We said "I love you." I didn't tell her what was really on my mind. Winter break finally arrived. And with it, the promise of 3 weeks together. Rebecca's flight landed 2 days after I got home, and I was at the airport an hour early, too anxious to wait at home. When she came through the arrivals gate, pulling her suitcase behind her, my breath caught. She looked different. Her hair was shorter, styled in a new way. She'd lost weight, probably from stress. But when she saw me, her face lit up with a smile that was pure Rebecca, and suddenly it felt like no time had passed at all. "Maya." She dropped her suitcase and ran to me, and then we were hugging, holding each other tight. And I was crying and laughing at the same time. "You're here," I said into her hair. "You're actually here." "I'm here," she confirmed, pulling back to look at me. "God, I missed your face. I missed your face too." We kissed right there in the airport, and it felt like coming home. The first few days were perfect. We were inseparable, making up for lost time. We went to all our old haunts, our beach, our overlook, the cafe where we used to study. We talked for hours, filling in all the details that video calls couldn't capture. We made love with a desperate intensity. It's like we were trying to store up enough physical closeness to last another semester. But by day 4, cracks started showing. We were at my house, supposedly watching a movie, when Rebecca got a text. She smiled at her phone, typing back quickly. "Who's that?" I asked, trying to sound casual. "Oh, just Marcus. He's in my Orgo study group. He's freaking out about the final we have first week back." "Marcus," I repeated. "You've mentioned him before. Yeah, he's really smart. Wants to be a neurosurgeon. He's been really helpful with Maya. Why are you looking at me like that? Like what? Like you think I'm doing something wrong." "I don't think you're doing anything wrong. It's just you text him a lot, even when we're together." Rebecca set down her phone, her expression cooling. "He's my friend. I'm allowed to have friends. Know that? I'm just saying, we barely get to see each other, and when we do, you're texting other people. I answered one text, Maya. One. It's not just one. You've been texting people constantly since you got here, because I have a life now. I have friends. I can't just put everything on hold because we're together for a few weeks. That's not what I'm asking you to do. Then what are you asking me to do? Because it feels like you want me to be as miserable and isolated as I was in October, just so you don't feel insecure. The words hit like a slap. That's not fair, isn't it? Rebecca stood up, agitated. You're jealous because I finally have friends at school. Because I'm not spending every second pining for you like you apparently want me to. I don't want you to pine for me. I want you to be present when we're together. Is that so crazy? You're being paranoid and controlling. I'm being paranoid. You've mentioned this Marcus guy like 50 times, Rebecca. Forgive me for noticing. He's just a friend. Is he, though? Because you light up every time he texts. You never light up like that when I text anymore. Rebecca's face flushed red. Maybe because texting you has started to feel like an obligation instead of something I enjoy. Silence fell between us like a bomb had gone off. You don't mean that? I said quietly. Rebecca sat back down, deflating. No, I don't. I'm sorry. That was cruel. Is that how you really feel? Like talking to me is an obligation. Sometimes, she admitted, and the honesty hurt worse than the lie would have. Maya, I love you. But this is so hard. Being apart is hard, and being together is hard now too, because we've changed. We're not the same people we were in high school. People change. That doesn't mean we have to break up, doesn't it? She looked at me with tired eyes. Maya, be honest. Are you happy? Like genuinely happy with how things are between us? I wanted to lie. I wanted to say yes, everything's perfect. We're perfect. But Jamie's words echoed in my mind. Being honest about your feelings isn't giving up. No, I whispered. I'm not happy. I miss you all the time, but when we're together, we fight. I feel like I'm losing you, but I don't know how to hold on without suffocating you. I feel the same way, Rebecca said, tears spilling down her cheeks. I love you so much, but Maya, I think we're hurting each other, and I don't know how to fix it. So what do we do? She was quiet for a long moment. Maybe we need to take a break. A real break. Not talking, not texting, just living our separate lives and figuring out who we are without each other for how long? I don't know. Until winter break ends. Until we figure out if we can be individuals and also be together. Everything in me wanted to scream no, to beg her not to do this, to promise I'd be better, less jealous, less needy. But I also knew she was right. We were drowning, and maybe we needed to learn to swim on our own before we could save each other. Okay? I agreed, the word tasting like ashes. A break. Until we go back to school. This doesn't mean it's over, Rebecca said quickly. It just means we need space to figure things out. Right, space? But we both knew what breaks usually meant. They were gentle words for a harder truth. Rebecca left my house that night. And we didn't see each other for the rest of break. I spent Christmas in a fog, going through the motions. My parents knew something was wrong but didn't push. On New Year's Eve, as fireworks exploded over the bay, I got a text from Rebecca. Happy New Year. I hope it's a good one for you. I stared at the message for a long time before responding. You too? We'd gone from loving each other desperately to being polite strangers in less than a semester. It felt like dying, returning to Santa. Barbara for spring semester felt both like a relief and a curse. Relief because I could throw myself into school and not have to see Rebecca's absence everywhere. A curse because it made the break feel more permanent. You okay? Zoe asked one day at the aquarium. We were cleaning the touch tanks, and I'd been quiet for an hour. Yeah, just tired. Is this about your girlfriend? The one back east? I'd mentioned Rebecca a few times, though I'd been vague about details. Ex-girlfriend? Maybe. We're on a break. Those usually don't end well, Zoe said sympathetically. Sorry, it's fine. Or it will be fine, eventually. But I didn't feel fine. I felt hollow. The thing about breaks is that they force you to confront the question, Who are you without this person? For 5 years, Rebecca had been my constant. My rival, my friend, my love. She'd shaped my choices, motivated my actions, occupied my thoughts. Without her, I felt UNMOORED, but slowly, carefully. I started building a life that was just mine. I threw myself into my classes with renewed focus. I joined a research project studying kelp forest ecosystems. I made friends beyond just Zoe, a whole group of marine bio students who invited me to beach bonfires and study sessions and late-night diner. Runzai was learning who Maya Santos was when she wasn't defined by competition or love, and it was terrifying, but also freeing. In mid-January, I was at a bonfire when I met Alex. They were a senior, an environmental science major with an easy smile and terrible jokes. We talked for hours about climate change and ocean conservation and the small ways individuals could make a difference. "You're really passionate about this," Alex observed, watching me gesture enthusiastically about microplastics. I am. The ocean is everything to me. It's where I feel most myself. I'd love to go diving with you sometime. If you're interested, were they flirting with me? I couldn't tell. I'd been with Rebecca for so long, I'd forgotten how to read these signals. Sure, I said, trying to sound casual. That could be fun. As I drove home that night, I felt a confusing mix of guilt and excitement. Nothing had happened with Alex, but something could happen. I was single, technically, on a break, but it felt like cheating. I texted Jamie, "Is it wrong to be interested in someone else when you're on a break?" They responded immediately, "Depends." Has Rebecca started seeing other people? I don't know. We're not talking. That's your answer then? If you're not talking, you're not together. You're allowed to move on, Maya. But was I? Did I want to? I lay in bed that night, staring at my ceiling, thinking about Rebecca. Was she lying in her dorm room, thinking about me? Or had she moved on already? Was Marcus more than just a friend? The not knowing was torture. On February 1st, exactly 1 month into our break, I broke down and texted her, "Can we talk?" She didn't respond for 3 hours. When she finally did, it was brief. I don't think that's a good idea. We said until the end of break. Winter break is over. We're back at school. You know what I meant, Maya? So what? We just never talk again. That's not what I said. I just need more time. How much time? I don't know. I'm sorry. Stared at my phone, frustration and hurt warring inside me. This limbo was worse than a clean break would have been. At least then, I'd know where I stood. Fine, I typed back. Take all the time you need. I went diving with Alex on Valentine's Day. It wasn't planned that way, it was just when our schedules aligned, but the date made it feel significant. The ocean was clear and cold. Visibility perfect. We swam through kelp forests, watched sea lions play, spotted an octopus camouflaged against the rocks. Underwater, everything was quiet and peaceful. All the noise in my head faded away. When we surfaced, both grinning from the dive, Alex said, "That was incredible." It really was. No, you're different down there, more at peace. The ocean is my happy place. I can tell. They hesitated, then added, "Would you want to grab dinner? As a thank you for showing me your spot." This was definitely a date invitation. I could say no, make an excuse, keep myself available for Rebecca, who might never come back. Or I could say yes, move forward, let myself be happy with someone who is actually here. Sure, I heard myself say, "Dinner sounds great." Went to a little seafood restaurant near campus. The conversation flowed. Easily no awkward silences, no painful topics to avoid. Alex told me about their plans to work for an environmental nonprofit after graduation, about growing up in Oregon, about their love of terrible sci-fi movies. It was nice, easy, uncomplicated. Nothing like what I had with Rebecca, which had been intense and challenging and all-consuming. "Can I be honest with you about something?" I asked over dessert, of course. I got out of a relationship recently. Well, we're on a break, but it might be permanent. and I'm not totally sure where my head is at right now." Alex nodded, understanding. "Thanks for telling me. Can I ask what happened?" "You don't have to answer if you don't want to." "Long distance. We went to colleges on opposite coasts, and it just fell apart. We loved each other, but it wasn't enough." "That's rough. How long were you together?" "Not long officially, but we've been in each other's lives for 5 years. She was my rival before she was my girlfriend. We competed over everything: grades, achievements, debate competitions. Then senior year, we finally admitted we had feelings for each other." Alex smiled. "That's quite a story. Sometimes I wonder if we were better as rivals than as girlfriends. At least then the intensity made sense." "Do you still love her?" The question caught me off guard. Did I? After everything, after the fighting and the distance and the break, did I still love Rebecca Chen? Yes, I admitted. "I do, but I don't know if love is enough. And I'm tired of being in limbo, waiting for her to decide if she still wants me." "So you're moving on?" "I'm trying to." I met Alex's eyes. "Is that okay?" "It's more than okay. But Maya, I don't want to be a rebound. If we're going to do this, I want it to be real." Their honesty was refreshing. "That's fair. And I can't promise you anything right now except that I like spending time with you. And I'd like to see where this goes." "That's enough for me." We held hands walking back to campus. And when Alex kissed me goodnight, 'twas soft and sweet and nothing like kissing Rebecca. That should have been a relief. Instead, it just made me miss her more. I was in the library studying for my midterm, when my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. When I opened it, I found a screenshot of an Instagram post. It was Rebecca at what looked like a party. She was smiling, her arm around a guy tall, handsome, Asian. Marcus, presumably. The caption read, "Best study break ever. Hashtag pre-med, #Columbia." The message with the screenshot was from someone I didn't recognize. "Thought you should know your girlfriend is moving on." My hand started shaking. Who had sent this? Why? I zoomed in on the photo, studying Rebecca's face. She looked happy. Genuinely happy, in a way she hadn't looked during our winter break visit. The Gamarcus had his arm around her waist, comfortable and familiar. Were they dating? Had our break become a breakup without anyone telling me? I should have felt angry, betrayed. Instead, I just felt numb. My phone buzzed again. This time, it was a text from Rebecca herself. "I know someone probably sent you that photo. Before you freak out, can we please talk?" My heart was racing. "Okay," she called immediately. "Maya?" Her voice was strained. "That photo, it's not what it looks like." "What does it look like, Rebecca?" "Because it looks like you're dating someone else." "I'm not dating Marcus. We're friends. That party we were celebrating him getting an A on our Orgo midterm. He's been helping me study. That's all. He has his arm around you. 'Cause we're friends." "Maya, I haven't dated anyone. I haven't even kissed anyone since we went on break." "Okay?" I took a breath. "But Rebecca, we've been on this break for 2 months. And honestly, if you wanted to date someone else, you could. We're not together right now." Silence on her end. "I know," she finally said. "You're right. We're not together. Which is why I haven't asked you about your life or who you've been seeing. Because I don't have the right to." "I have been seeing someone," I admitted. "Nothing serious yet. But Alex asked me out, and I said yes, because I'm tired of waiting in limbo, Rebecca. I'm tired of not knowing if we're over or if we're going to try again, or what we are to each other." I heard her breath catch. "Alex, they're in my marine bio program. They're kind and smart, and they're actually here. And it's easy, Rebecca. It's so easy compared to what we had. Is that what you want?" Her voice was thick with tears. "Easy? I don't know what I want anymore." I was crying too now, not caring that I was in the library. "I loved you so much, it consumed me. But loving you was also the hardest thing I've ever done, and I don't know if I have it in me to go back to that. So this is it. We're done." The question hung between us like a cliff edge. One word, and I could end it. Move forward with Alex, with my new life. with everything that felt lighter and easier. But could I really walk away from Rebecca? From 5 years of history, from the person who'd pushed me, challenged me, loved me more intensely than anyone else ever had? I don't know, I whispered. I don't know if we're done or if we're just pausing. But Rebecca, we can't keep doing this. This limbo is killing me. It's killing me too. She was openly sobbing now. Maya, I miss you. I miss us. But I also don't know how to fix what's broken. We tried long distance and it nearly destroyed us. But the thought of never being with you again makes me want to die. Then what do? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. We stayed on the phone, both crying, neither having answers. Finally, Rebecca spoke. Maybe we need to really let go. Not a break. Not waiting, just acknowledging that what we had was beautiful, but it's over. Every word felt like a knife to my chest. Is that what you want? No, but maybe it's what we need. Maya, you're seeing someone else. That means part of you has already let go. And I can't ask you to hold on when I don't even know if we can make this work. I haven't let go, I protested. Alex it's new. It's nothing compared to what we had. But it could be something, and you deserve to find out. You deserve to be happy, even if that happiness doesn't include me. Stop being so noble, I said through my tears. I don't want you to be noble. I want you to fight for me. Fight for us. I'm tired of fighting, Maya, aren't you? And that was the truth of it, wasn't it? We were both exhausted. Exhausted from the distance, from the jealousy, from trying to be something we couldn't sustain. Yeah, I admitted. I'm tired too. So maybe this is goodbye. Real goodbye. I can't believe this is how we end. Over the phone, 3,000 miles apart. It's fitting, in a way. We started on opposite sides of a classroom. We're ending on opposite sides of the country. Despite everything, I laughed wetly. You would find poetry in this. I learned from the best. You were always better at seeing beauty in things than I was. But that's not true. Rebecca, you see beauty in everything. In chemical equations and impossible medical problems, and my voice broke. And in me, even when I couldn't see it in myself. Maya? Her voice was so tender it hurt. I will always see beauty in you. That doesn't change just because we're not together. I love you, I said. I need you to know that. Even if this is goodbye, I love you. I love you too. I think I'll always love you. Can I ask you something? Anything. Do you think we were ever really meant to make it? Or were we just two people who loved each other at the wrong time? Rebecca was quiet for so long, I thought she might have hung up. Then I think we were meant to find each other, to push each other, to love each other. But maybe we weren't meant to be endgame. Maybe we were meant to be something else's chapter, not the whole story. I hate that you're probably right. I hate it too. We said goodbye after that. No dramatic declarations, no last-minute changes of heart. Just a people who loved each other, acknowledging that love wasn't always enough. After I hung up, I sat in the library and cried until a librarian gently asked if I was okay. I nodded, gathered my things, and walked out into the sunshine. The world kept turning. The ocean kept rolling. Life went on even when your heart was breaking. I texted Alex, "Are you free tomorrow? I'd like to talk." They responded quickly. Always. You okay? I will be, eventually. And maybe that was true. Maybe eventually the pain would fade. Maybe eventually I'd remember Rebecca with fondness instead of grief. Maybe eventually I'd believe that ending things was the right choice. But that night I allowed myself to grieve, to mourn the loss of my first love, my rival, my Rebecca. Tomorrow, stop moving forward. Tonight, I'd let myself fall apart.